shuts down. It's been inactive. It was intermittently active up until about 2 weeks ago, at which time it just quit delivering fuel completely, and we've not been able to pump any fuel since then. I got a quote from Rochester Petroleum for between $6,500 and $6,600 something, and they wanted to physically get in the tank and clean it out and restore it to restore the whole system to complete serviceability. Feeling that that was an awfully expensive approach, I inquired also with this Minnesota Petroleum, and they're comfortable with just pumping out whatever water and debris is in the bottom of the tank. And I can't explain to you in detail how they do that, other than that they drop a line into the tank and it rests in the low point in the tank supposedly, and then they maybe fish it around a little bit and pump out until they're getting pure fuel. And their quote for neighborhood of $1,000, that's I didn't bring my copy, but Steve, is it $800 to do the work?
$850 plus $1.75 per gallon disposal.
And they were guesstimating that they might have, the fellow was just kind of shooting from the hip, and he said we might get 150, 200 gallons. We might get more, he said, of contaminated fluid that then they take and charge that $1.50 a gallon to dispose of it. The tank right now is about 1/3 full, and I think their quotation, I'm not positive about this, but I think their quotation involves also seeing to it that the dispensing pump is serviced and filters are clean, so that everything is operating properly. We never did get a written proposal from them that spelled all that out, but they were always talking about getting the system up and running. So I think they're not just going, their intention is to not just clean out the tank and then say, your tank is adequately serviced or as clean as we can get it. They aren't going to be done with their $850 until the dispensing pump is operating and the system is delivering fuel again.
Well, we should get that in writing. That should be part of the motion if the council wants to move forward, but it does include that.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that the airport commission didn't want to go through the full cleaning process is because on our CIP is replacement of the fuel system. But it didn't make any sense to put $6,000–7,000 worth of effort into cleaning this tank out and then in a couple of years moving it, because we wanted to move it, and then buy a whole new system. It just doesn't make sense.
The whole new system would most likely include a whole new storage tank.
Right.
And this current storage tank would be retired.
So what do you do for fuel now when people come in need fuel?
We are unable to provide fuel. We've been unable to provide fuel for several weeks.
And in the winter, those filters freeze.
Yeah.
And you can't pump fuel either.
Yeah.
People fly in because you don't know that, try to get fuel out and they can't, and that could put them in a
The dependability of the fuel system has been a problem all winter long. It has just driven me nuts. I've had Rochester Petroleum over 3 times, I think, and they've chased the filters in the dispensing pump, and the technician is good, and he's busy, and he's always working out there in a fierce wind, and it's the worst possible conditions, and he does a good job. But then in a short while, it goes belly up again, and it's been driving all of us nuts. I think it's important for the vitality of the airport that we do have fuel available, and I've been worried here. I have what's called a NOTAM, that's a notice to airmen, out to the effect that 100 low lead avgas is not available at the Rushford Airport. I don't like having that NOTAM on very long because we depend to a significant amount on transient people who are flying in the area. Pilots customarily search online for the best fuel buys, and they plan their trips by, even if they have to divert a short distance, they'll drop in at whatever airport has preferably self-serve fuel and the best price, and Rushford is always in that category. So most of our fuel sales are to transients that are using us because of, we offer a good buy. We're losing out on that, and I don't want the reputation or the attitude to get too far distributed that fuel is not available at Rushford. You can get a bad reputation in a hurry, and then it's very, very difficult to outlive or rebuild that bad reputation. So I'm very anxious to get this system up.
Go ahead, Robin.
I was wondering, you said they physically removed enough so that they could get inside the tank when they cleaned it out?
In the summer of 2000, yes.
2000?
Mhm.
So would they be able to do that now, or?
That's Rochester Petroleum's proposal for 6,500 plus.
We don't wanna spend that
No.
much, especially like,
They
you know,
wanted
the plan is to, for the future of the airport to.
Isn't there some kind of additive to add to the fuel to dry it?
Not for avgas. You don't
No.
touch avgas
No.
with any additives.
Huh.
It's very fussy stuff.
So with this new tank that probably down the road, would that be an underground tank, or?
More than likely, it would be an above ground. It's becoming the norm for new systems to incorporate an above ground. Difficulties with below ground tanks, and I'm not saying that they're not used anymore, but it's more common to use above ground tanks. Below ground tanks, they're more difficult to monitor as far as leakage is concerned, and sometimes they leak for a while, and then
Probably subject to freezing and thawing and.
yeah. So the norm at airports now, as I travel around, I see exclusively above ground tanks.
So basically, Airport Commission is saying that it's an acceptable short-term solution until we're ready to do the long-term one.
Then this may last a couple of years. easy.
Exactly.
Well,
You can do it 6 times, you're still ahead of the game.
but I do think we need it, like Steve said, we need something in writing from these guys.
That we had anticipated that we'd have something, that's why we put this on.
This maintenance is a legitimate annual reimbursement expense also. I mean, we annually get reimbursed from the state for maintenance up there,
Okay,
and this would fall under that. It's anywhere from 50 to 66% would be covered of this cost, so.
What's the council's pleasure?
What does the fuel sell for up there?
My current price is $5.58. Current price over at Houston County, Caledonia, is $5.29, and Winona is $6.60, somewhere like it. They're $1 or more higher than the Rushford price. La Crosse and Rochester are similar, $1 to more than $1 more than my Rushford price. I frankly don't know. Well, I think the county over at the Houston County Airport is in charge of that fuel system. My latest, I get a weekly quote on what it's going to cost me to replace my fuel. My current replacement cost is about $5.40 a gallon.